In this video, we are going to cover the basics of ECG and how it can be used to diagnose abnormal heart conditions. The heart is suspended in a wet conductive medium, your body tissues and fluids. As electrical signals flash through the heart, current leaks all the way out to your skin. By placing metal stickers called electrodes on opposite sides of the body, we can map this current onto moving graph paper. An ECG machine registers a wave only when the heart muscle is partially shocked. When the heart is completely at rest, that is fully polarized, or completely activated, that is fully depolarized, the line returns to the zero baseline. No current flows if everything has the exact same charge. An ECG maps two types of electrical movements: depolarization, the positive wave that triggers a squeeze, and repolarization, the negative wave where cells electrically reset. Now let's talk about the anatomy of an ECG wave. The first wave seen on a normal ECG is the P wave. It is seen due to the electrical signal spreading across the atria. It happens right before the top chambers contract. The second is the QRS complex, which is seen due to electrical signal racing through the heavy ventricles. This large electrical spike initiates the main ventricular squeeze. The atria repolarize at this exact same time. However, the ventricular spike is so massive that it completely swallows and hides the atrial repolarization wave on the graph. The third wave is the T wave, the ventricles chemically and electrically resetting back to their resting state. This occurs 0.25 to 0.35 seconds after the QRS complex. Because this reset process happens slowly across different fibers, the T wave is wide and smooth. Let's talk about the ECG paper. ECG paper runs at a standard speed of 25 millimeters per second. The horizontal axis is time and the vertical axis is voltage. On the horizontal axis, one small box is 0.04 seconds and one large box is 0.2 seconds. On the vertical axis, 10 small boxes equal 1 millivolt. PR interval is the time from the start of the P wave to the start of the QRS complex. This measures how long it takes for the signal to travel from atria down through the AV node into the ventricles. Normal PR interval is 0.12 to 0.2 seconds, that is 3 to 5 small boxes. QT interval is the time from the start of QRS to the end of T wave. This represents the entire duration of ventricular squeeze. The P wave is normally less than 0.12 seconds and the QRS complex is less than 0.07 to 0.10 seconds. To calculate heart rate, simply divide 1500 by the number of small boxes between two R waves and you will get your heart rate. Now let's talk about the lead system in ECG. An ECG does not use just one view. To find localized muscle damage or blockages, ECG uses 12 different electrical angles divided into 3 distinct sets. Think of it like choosing different camera angles around a football stadium. Each lead has a negative and a positive terminal. Different leads have their negative and positive terminals at different locations. Set 1 is the bipolar limb leads. These record the electrical differences between two specific limbs. Together, they form an imaginary triangle over the torso known as the Einthoven's triangle. Lead 1 has its negative terminal on the right arm and positive terminal on the left arm. Lead 2 has its negative terminal on the right arm and positive terminal on the left leg. And lead 3 has its negative terminal on the left arm and positive terminal on the left leg. If you know the voltage of any two leads, you can instantly find the voltage of third lead based on a law called the Einthoven's law. This law states that if the electrical potentials of any two limb leads are known at a given instant, the third one can be determined mathematically by simply summing the first two. The positive and negative signs of different leads must be observed when making this summation. For example, if lead 1 is 0.5 millivolt and lead 3 is 0.7 millivolt, then lead 2 must be equal to the sum, that is 1.2 millivolt. Set 2 is the 3 augmented unipolar limb leads. These use the same limb wires but change the math. The machine turns two limbs into collective negative baseline and tests them against one single positive limb. Lead AVR has right arm as its positive electrode. The negative electrode is formed collectively by left arm and left leg. Similarly, AVL has left arm as positive electrode and AVF has left leg as positive electrode. The negative electrode is formed collectively by the remaining two limbs. Set 3 are the 6 precordial chest leads V1 to V6. They are placed directly on specific spots across the chest wall, looking straight through to the heart muscle right underneath them. V1 is placed in the fourth intercostal space along the right margin of the sternum. V2 is placed in the fourth intercostal space along the left margin of the sternum. V4 in the fifth intercostal space, mid-clavicular line, V3 midway between V2 and V4, V5 in fifth intercostal space, anterior axillary line, and V6 in fifth intercostal space, mid-axillary line. Now let's talk about vector analysis and how doctors use it to diagnose heart damage and heart attacks on an ECG. Electricity doesn't just flow randomly through the heart. It travels in a specific direction at any given fraction of a second. We represent this flow using a vector. To track vectors, we use a 360-degree circle mapped over the patient's chest. 0 degrees is perfectly horizontal, pointing directly to patient's left. 90 degrees points straight towards the feet. 180 degrees points straight to the right. Minus 90 degrees points to the head. In a healthy heart, the average electrical path during ventricular squeezing points downward and to the left at about plus 59 degrees. This happens because the apex of the heart remains positive while the base is negative. Each ECG lead acts like a camera looking at the heart from a specific angle. The straight line between the lead's negative and positive electrode is its axis. The axis of lead 1 is 0 degrees, lead 2 is 60 degrees, and lead 3 is 120 degrees. AVF is 90, AVL is minus 30, and AVR is plus 210 degrees. If the heart's vector points toward a lead's positive terminal, the ECG line jumps upward. If it points away from the positive terminal, the ECG line dips downward. If the heart vector is perfectly perpendicular to the lead axis, that lead records almost zero voltage. While the normal axis falls between minus 30 and plus 90 degrees, pathological changes can pull or push this axis out of bounds. Causes of left axis deviation include left ventricular hypertrophy, where the left wall gets thick, creates more electrical voltage, and takes longer to depolarize, pulling the overall axis hard to the left. And the other example is left bundle branch block, where the left electrical wire is cut. Electricity has to crawl through regular muscle tissue on the left side, while the right side instantly depolarizes. This leaves the left side positive for much longer, swinging the vector to the left. Similarly, causes of right axis deviation include right ventricular hypertrophy and right bundle branch block. The amplitude of QRS voltage can also be affected by diseases. High voltage almost always is caused by hypertrophy, and low voltage is caused by cardiac myopathies, fluid around heart called pericardial effusions, and air trapping in lungs called emphysema. Now let's talk about a concept called J point. When heart tissue is severely damaged or starved of oxygen, its cell membranes become leaky. It cannot fully restore and stays permanently depolarized. Because a piece of heart stays negative while the rest resets to positive, an abnormal current of injury flows continuously between heartbeats. Because your body is full of natural background electrical noise, an ECG machine cannot inherently know where absolute zero is. To find it, doctors look for the J point, the exact millisecond where the QRS complex ends and connects to the ST segment. At this precise moment, the entire heart is completely depolarized. Because everything is negative, all current flow stops and voltage is guaranteed to be absolute zero. By drawing a flat baseline across the J point, you can spot an injury current. If the resting segment, that is the TP segment, sits completely unevenly with the J line, a current of injury is formed. This is used to identify ST segment changes and diagnose infarction in the heart. In anterior wall MI, ST segment elevation is seen in V1 to V4. In inferior wall MI, it is seen in leads 2, 3 and AVL. And in lateral wall MI, it is seen in leads 1, AVL, V5 and V6. Now let's talk about the T wave. The normal T wave is positive because the outside apex of heart resets before the inner endocardial layers. If this sequence is ruined, such as in bundle branch blocks, mild ischemia, and digitalis toxicity, the T wave flips upside down and this is called T wave inversion. Next, we will talk about cardiac arrhythmias, how and why heart loses its rhythm, and how to spot these changes on an ECG. First are abnormal sinus rhythms. These arrhythmias originate in the normal pacemaker sinus node but run at abnormal speeds or irregular patterns. Sinus tachycardia is a resting heart rate of more than 100 beats per minute. Causes include fever, sympathetic stimulation, or a weakened heart muscle. Sinus bradycardia is a resting heart rate less than 60 beats per minute. It can be seen in athletes with a very strong heart and carotid sinus syndrome. The third sinus rhythm is called sinus arrhythmia. This happens because the respiratory center and vasomotor center in brainstem are very close to each other and signals from respiratory center spill over into vasomotor center, changing vagal and sympathetic signals with each breath. Now we will talk about heart blocks. When signals fail to leave SA node, it is called a sinus block. Atrial P wave stops suddenly. The backup pacemaker in the AV node wakes up to drive the ventricles at a slower flat rate. When signal is delayed at the AV node, it is called an AV block. In first degree AV block, the signal passes every time but takes too long. On the ECG, the PR interval is prolonged to more than 0.2 seconds. In second degree AV block, the signal is delayed so much that it occasionally fails to pass entirely. You will see an atrial P wave on the graph without a following QRS complex. In third degree AV block, no signals pass through the AV bundle. The atria and ventricles become completely uncoupled. The atria beat at their normal rate of 100 beats per minute. The ventricles establish an independent backup rhythm of 15 to 40 beats per minute, driven by the Purkinje system. There is zero mathematical relationship between P wave and QRS complex. Next are premature contractions, also known as ectopic beats. These occur due to firing of an irritable focus outside the SA node. These can be atrial, where an early P wave occurs accompanied by a short PR interval and is followed by a compensatory pause, or these can be ventricular, where the stray signal originates in ventricular muscle. The QRS complex is wide and prolonged. Next are paroxysmal tachycardias. A hyperirritable focus or circular electrical loop suddenly hijacks the heart, racing at a high speed before ending just as abruptly. These can be supraventricular or ventricular. In supraventricular arrhythmias, the re-entry circus movement occurs only above the ventricles and include paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, atrial fibrillation, and atrial flutter. In PSVT, P wave is absent, there is a regular rhythm, and rate goes up to 150 beats per minute. In atrial fibrillation, P wave is absent, rhythm is irregular, and rates go up to 150 per minute. The atria stop pumping actively, however, blood still drains passively down into the lower chambers, meaning ventricular pumping efficiency drops by only 20 to 30%. In atrial flutter, the atria beat at a rate of 200 to 350 per minute. The AV node cannot pass signals that fast, so it lets only one every second or third wave through. The ECG features a classic clean, sawtooth pattern of P waves with fixed ratios of ventricular responses. Ventricular arrhythmias include ventricular tachycardia, which is a continuous string of ventricular ectopics, and ventricular fibrillation, where the heart's electrical signals go completely berserk. Instead of a coordinated wave, electricity breaks into a chaotic chain reaction of multiple moving wave fronts. This is all about basics of ECG. Making videos like this takes a lot of time and effort, so if you watch this video till the end, please subscribe to my channel. I will see you in the next one.